All right. Well, more of the show stuff going on. I managed to pull in Wayne with the real milk paint, man. I'll tell you, this is good stuff here. We brought in their oils a while back, and they've got a lot of other products as well filed into that. So we thought, you know what, we'll pull them in, we'll chat with them a little bit, and maybe you can tell us about some of the other products that are available. And so, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We're glad you're able to come and have your booth set up over there. Been active and busy all weekend?
It has been busy. A lot of questions about milk paint and the waxes and the oils. And, you know, we're hoping to educate the public around here a little bit more about these products and that they can find them at Klingspor.
Yeah. Well, we love the oils. They're fantastic. And hopefully we can get more of the milk paints integrated into that lineup as well, because there's a good need for that. Really good stuff. So,
yeah.
Well, I see you brought a few products with you. Why don't you talk about some of the stuff you got?
I mean, we got a lot of questions about what is milk paint today, so I'm kind of just going to go over that again real quick. You know, basically the way we package it, it comes in this is a pint-sized container, so you can see the bag on top. So that's the milk paint, which is the casein, which is milk protein, lime, and pigments. And you see a marble sitting in there, and this is what you get when you buy a pint of paint. So there's enough powder and paint here to make a pint of milk paint, 16 ounces. And so we provide the container with the agitator. That's what the little marble does for you. And you can scoop out and use as much or as little as you want. And it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you make a quarter cup of powder, then it's a quarter cup of paint. Put it back in the container and shake it. It'll last 2 weeks after it's mixed and up to 3 years in the dry powder form.
Nice.
So
instead of just having to have your own container, you provide the powder and the container. And it's like a box of Cracker Jacks. You get a free marble when you're all done, right?
Exactly.
So you can, if you collect all the colors, at the end you got a whole game of marbles ready to go.
You do. Yeah, and the marbles are always different most of the time too. You might get a white one, you might get a cat's eye one.
That's right. So tune in, buy every can, and hopefully you get the whole collector's edition with every marble available.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's good. So we got milk paint of all the colors. So if you're looking for those really cool old school colors, they're there. Vibrant colors. I mean, you can even blend those and mix custom colors.
Make your own custom colors.
Yep. And you won't even need 2 marbles. Just put 1 marble into 2 different colors and make your own. Right. But so if you're interested in the milk paint, we can certainly get those. And I think we're even looking at bringing some more of those in. But those are fantastic. I like the idea of having the can and the powder all together. You got everything you need. And you got some other stuff back here. What's up with this little can of wax?
I just also want to say, if you lost your marbles, you can come get one at Klingspor.
No, we've lost ours too. Yeah, we've lost ours too. But yeah, that's I like that idea. That's a great way to do it, and I think that makes it simple because you don't have to have anything else. You just put it in the can and go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. As long as you remember, you even wrote down the color on the bag, so you won't forget what color goes in what can.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah. Color coordination, it's important.
So other product we have. This is another great product for Woodturners, and this is our wood wax, and this is made with walnut oil and carnauba wax flakes, and it's a kind of a paste, and you would apply it to your turning or your countertops or your butcher blocks or your eating utensils. It's environmentally safe, non-toxic. You know, it's edible. I mean, not that I recommend spreading it on your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but you could scoop it out of the can and eat it. It's that safe. The nice thing about it is it's a polymerizing oil, so it's a little bit tougher than the product I'm going to show you next. But anyway, this is a great oil for doing all those edible food surfaces. You know, I can actually show you what it looks like inside.
And that's pretty important now because a lot of people are making those products to actually use as a utensil.
Yeah, you can see it's a paste form.
And it does seem like that's it's less runny, so you could actually apply that on and get a little bit better build on your piece, give it a little more protection.
Yeah, a rag or applicator. So while you're turning on the lathe, you can push it right into the wood. Makes it it's still kind of a matte finish, but they're very nice and waterproof and easy to repair.
Yeah. Well, and since it's wax, you certainly want to let that sit a little bit before you handle it after you apply it, right? Let that wax cool off a little bit.
Because it's a polymerizing oil, it still takes about 7 or 10 days to get really hard. But I mean, during that time frame, you still can use the product.
Yeah. Well, and just like unlike a traditional urethane or something like that, it's going to give it more of that hand rubbed, hand finished look. And at the end result, like you said, it's easier to maintain on cutting boards and other things like that. So I like that. It's good stuff.
If anyone has a walnut allergy, is that a problem?
Off gassing, so it's all natural.
Right. Well, Mike did ask a question. If anyone has a walnut allergy, does that create any problems there?
So far, I mean, we've been making this product for close to 10 years, and peanut oil has a certain protein in it, and it's that protein that people get allergic to. So we've never found an allergic reaction ever been reported to us all the time we've been making it, even though it is, made from a walnut oil. Right. So, and the other part is peanut oil is a non-drying oil. So this is a drying oil. So what happens is as it dries, it becomes inert. So it's no longer loose and being spread around like a peanut oil.
Okay. Well, not guaranteed, but certainly worth trying. And you've been doing this a long time. This isn't your first can of product. So certainly would have heard some complaints or some issues had that been the case. But no, good option. I like that. It seems to be a little bit more, it's a little more solidified than a traditional like a blend. So certainly would build better and allow you to really put that on there and get a nice coating on any of your wood products that you're going to be using in a kitchen environment. So nice. And I believe you got another little thing back there.
This is our newest product here, and this is what we call our cutting board oil. Now, like I talked about before, that being a drying oil, this is a non-drying oil. So this is for when you're trying to do a quick touch-up on cutting boards, or you're trying to send out if you're in the cutting board market and you're trying to send a product out, and we actually make this in a 2-ounce size too, so that they can be sent out to your customer along with it for maintenance. But this is made with almond oil, palm oil, a rice wax, and actually hemp wax. So that's in there. So you got to shake it up a little bit. It's kind of a thick product, so you can't use it in really low temperatures because it actually gets kind of a little thick. But really great product for that quick touch up on your cutting boards, and for people who, it's a good replacement for mineral oil. That's really why we made this, because mineral oil being a petroleum product, this is an all natural replacement for a mineral oil.
Yeah, and in these days that makes a world of difference, having a better product that you don't have to worry about some of the petroleum bases that come in, because those things you just never know where they're coming from. Right. So I like that more natural option to be able to finish those pieces out. So, and I'm a fan of that too. Anytime I made cutting boards or anything for someone that I was going to ship off or I was selling, I always like to have a little bottle of a touch-up product so that they could actually touch it up themselves and feel confident that all you had to do was do a little bit of this and they were good to go.
Yeah.
So, well, there's a lot of products available in this Real Milk paint lineup, and certainly with the variety of cutting board and utensil products, waxes, and then the milk paint. And of course, we've got a full line of the oils available. So come check it out. And if you're still roaming around the show and you happen to catch this live show, they're right over here behind us. So go check them out, and you won't be disappointed. Lots of cool colors, and you're doing a little old school stuff. This Real Milk paint's the way to go. So, but we certainly appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit about it. I told you I wouldn't take up much of your time. I know your booth is busy, so we thank you. And maybe you can find that lid that fell a while ago. But you have a great day. We appreciate you coming in, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, and welcome to Klingspor's Woodworking Shop Virtual Extravaganza. I'm Mike Z. I am here with our line of Mohawk Consumer aerosol cans. These will go from your regular lacquer finish all the way up to specialty finishes. So today we're going to talk about why you should use one over the other and everything in between. So first up, we have the tone finish lacquers. These are your standard nitrocellulose lacquers. They are good for anything that's going to be decorative but not handled. So let's say you're going to have moisture, heat, anything that's going to be in a scratch kind of area or a high traffic area, this might not be the finish for you. But if you have anything like a mirror or a decorative turned piece and you want a nice flowing finish, then this it has the sanding sealer. It comes in flat, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. So therefore you can find the right sheen to match your project. Up Up next is the M102 pre-catalyzed sanding sealer lineup. We have everything from the sanding sealer itself for dead flat, flat, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss sheens. This is where you would want to use something in a higher traffic situation, such as in kitchens or bathrooms, anything that's going to be handled more frequently. Some place where basically you're going to have a lot of human interaction to where you have hot, cold, liquids coming in contact with the film finish. It does lay out very nicely, and it is widely used across the industry for touch-up. So if you have a project where you want a little bit more durability in the tone finish, then the pre-catalyzed clear would be the way to go. Next up, we have the sanding sealer and easy vinyl sealer lineup. The tone finish sanding sealer is more recommended for the tone finish line. The pre-catalyzed sanding sealer is a little bit hard, more durable, and scratch resistant for the pre-cat sanding line. But the easy vinyl is kind of a universal sealer that lays down very nicely for all lacquer mediums that you're going to be using. The bonding agents in the easy vinyl bond very well to pre-existing finishes, and therefore make the Mohawk products you want to put on top bond even better. So if you want a one-stop shop all-around sealer, the easy vinyl is a great choice. Otherwise, you have your specialty tone finish or your pre-catalyzed. Next up, we have our no blush blender flowouts and super no blush retardants. These are if you have a blushing instance where it's kind of a milky white rainbow prismatic look to your lacquer finishes. This will work in either if you're spraying large projects or using aerosol cans. The no blush blender with flat means that if you have a flat or a matte finish, that's the can that you use. If you have a satin to semi-gloss, the blender flowout satin will be a great choice. And if you have a super gloss finish, the super no blush retarder, or in this case the super blush retarder, would be the way to go. So these three cans right here are great within 48 hours of spraying the finish. If you have any blushing to occur, you just lightly mist it across the surface. You try not to saturate it, and you will get perfect results every time and remove that blush. For decades, Mohawk Finishing has made one of the best lacquer for brasses in the industry, but it only came in gloss. Up until this year, they've recently released a matte and a satin finish. So if you're looking to reshine your brass fixtures and then protect them for years of untarnished surface, then I would highly recommend the Lacquer for Brass lineup. New this year from Mohawk Consumer is going to be the outdoor acrylic aerosol. If you're looking for a fast drying lacquer type of top coat finish that is made for exterior use, finally Mohawk has come out with an outdoor acrylic. This is fast drying. It comes in flat, satin, and gloss, so everything above the water line you can finish, like duck decoys, anything that's going to be outside on like the patio or porch in direct sunlight or indirect sunlight and the exposure to all the elements. This is a fantastic finish to check out. So in recent years, just the pre-catalyzed lacquers have always been good. The tone finishes have been okay as far as you just want a regular lacquer finish. But when you're looking for no orange peel, long flash off time, which means before the film actually forms over the coat that you just applied, the Ultra Flow Clear Lacquer is just one of the best products on the market. If you're finishing, for instance, any kind of hardware, metal, and you want a nice flowed surface without any imperfections, overspray, orange peel, then this is the product for you. With the introductions of UV finishes in the market, cab acrylics, conversion varnishes, it's kind of hard to find a nice touch-up aerosol to go along with those. So Mohawk has the Ultra Flow Ultra Bond Clear, and what that means is that it will bond to almost any existing finish for touch-up work. If you've ever had to work with any kind of CV finishes or UV finishes, you'll know that not always does a touch-up job go really well. If you're looking for just general great bond to maybe existing finishes that are in the market, if you're into antiques or anything, this is a great product as well. Just straight bare wood might be a little bit much, but at the same time, the flow characteristics and the Ultra Bond are going to be a great top-notch finish. Comes in flat, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss.
Since the late 1940s, Mohawk finishing products have been a staple in the woodworking industry. And in 2001, when they moved their plant to Hudson, North Carolina, Klingspor's Woodworking Shop has proudly been carrying them. So the next time you're in the market for a quality lacquer, toner, or leather product, check out Mohawk Finishing at woodworkingshop.com.
Guessing that you're here because you have a problem. You invested lots of time and money into your CNC machine only to be left searching all over the internet on how to use it properly without much success. Well, you finally came to the right place. The Vectric Master Training course has helped over 1,000 students from all over the world solve this problem by providing 3 major things: knowledge, resources, and support. When you join the Vectric Master Training course, you will get lifetime access to an online training program that has over 200 in-depth lessons in sequential order and hours of extremely valuable content broken up into easy to digest sections. From 2D designing, node editing, knowing which toolpaths to choose and which bits to choose, how to properly set up your feed and speed settings, how to use gadgets to increase your productivity, basic all the way up to advanced training on 3D modeling and creating rotary projects, and finally, many tips and tricks in between. This program also includes the resources that you need to accompany your learning experience, such as actionable steps, quizzes at the end of each chapter, project files, PDF guides, cheat sheets, and so much more. Finally, you will also have lifetime access to our exclusive private community with support on getting your questions answered. Some students have even told me that this was the most valuable part for them. So if you are tired of wasting time trying to learn Vectric software the hard way, and are ready to join over 1,000 students that are now using Vectric software more efficiently, then click the button on this page to get instant access to all of the training and start increasing your confidence today. I'll see you inside.
I'm Jack Hastings, and I work in the Asheville store at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop off of Airport Road on the south side of Asheville. Today I'm here to talk about helping you select what kind of a spray gun or spray equipment you might want to use for your particular application. I started spraying about 35 years ago. I spray mostly lacquers, high gloss lacquers principally, unless I'm doing furniture, and then I'll use a lower sheen lacquer. And for the first 15 years, I used a big, huge compressor. And on that compressor, I had a dehydrator in the line and dust filters in the line, because as most of you know, a compressor generates water. And if you've ever drained the bottom of your tank, you know it can generate a lot of humidity. If you've never drained the bottom of the tank, you probably ought to unscrew that and take a look at it. About 15 years ago, I switched to HVLP, which stands for high volume, low pressure. The high volume, low pressure has nothing to do with what you're spraying. High volume, low pressure refers to the air that the gun and the system are using. HVLP was developed in the 50s, ironically by the Kirby vacuum cleaner company. If you bought their most expensive vacuum, it came with a hose and a little glass jar and a spray gun. So you would take the bag off of your vacuum cleaner and plug this hose in there. So essentially you were working on the backside of a vacuum cleaner fan. And that's all HVLP systems are now. So when you see an HVLP system, Erlex and some of the real simple ones have one vacuum cleaner fan running backwards. Today we're going to be looking at a 2 series from Fuji that has 2 fans. The 3 series has 3 fans. The 4 series has 4 fans, and so on. The 5 series has 5. It's identical equipment to what's in your vacuum cleaner, and it always has been. Fuji has been in that business for about 12 to 15 years. Interestingly, they got started with spray tan equipment. The difference, just as the big picture, when you use a compressor, it atomizes your fluid, whether it's a water-based, oil-based, into very, very tiny droplets and sprays them out of the gun at high pressure. The result of that is you lose about 70% of what you're spraying doesn't stay where you're spraying it. And if you've ever been in an auto body shop or any shop where they use a high compressor, high pressure spray system, you'll notice there's spray all over the place. And if you've ever smelled one, you realize how much is not staying on the piece of furniture or whatever it is. You can get an HVLP gun that will work on a traditional compressor. The only downside is you need a big compressor because it's using a massive amount of air. So again, the HVLP It was developed from the vacuum cleaner business. This is Fuji Spray's 2-fan system. And by the way, during the extravaganza, this is going to be one of the door prizes available for our customers. One of the great things about Fuji is right on top of the box is their 800 number. And when you dial their 800 number, you go right to their people, and they can troubleshoot almost any problem. Their customer service is tremendous. They're in Toronto.
Back with this breaking news, we have Nick with Stated Woods in our booth with us, but he's also with Phantom, so this makes it doubly cool. We already did the in-booth interview with Nick this morning, but we thought we'd have him in the booth. Maybe there's some questions that people might have had about the different CNCs that they offer, but more importantly, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about you, Nick, Mr. Stated Woods himself, right? Yes, sir. So, welcome to the booth. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it.
So thinking about your most recent entrance into the CNC world, we knew you started with one brand and now you've switched to Phantom. What made you decide to go to Phantom?
You know, I met up with Steve and the guys at Phantom shortly after Izzy Swan did. And, you know, we're all just sort of cut from the same cloth. The guys there are just down to earth. I'm not saying I'm completely down to earth, but, you know, they were just nice people and they put out a great product. And they really stood behind it, and they really stood behind more of the lines of building a community than building a CNC, to be honest with you. You know, Steve and the guys at Phantom, they were all makers after hours, you know, after their day job, and they saw that there was a real need for getting good machines out there and not hiking up the price and charging a lot of people these high prices for machines. You know, they understood the struggle of getting good equipment at lower prices. And that's exactly what it was when Izzy Swan went and looked at it. And then when I met up with Steve and looked at it, it was just an unbelievable piece of equipment for, you know, what I consider a maker's budget in a way.
And it's definitely a beast of a machine. If you didn't see the earlier interview where we were in the booth with Phantom, you might want to go back and check that out. Very worth looking into. If you're getting into CNC, this is not your entry level, but man, it is something. If you're serious about it, this is the way to go. So go check that out and see what you think about that. So, Mr. Stated Woods, getting your shop kind of all the way you like it, right?
Yeah, it's a slow process. You never have it exactly the way you want it, right? You know, but slowly, yeah, we're getting there.
So you do a lot with the makers. And what's nice is you're a little more local than some of the other big name makers that does a lot with that. So we like the idea that you've put a lot of focus into that maker community, because there's a lot of us small guys who can't make those big trips elsewhere. So anything upcoming that you had in mind, maybe in the near future, that some kind of maker events you got planned? Anybody?
Yeah, so every year we try to do a maker retreat at the house, at the shop. And invite a bunch of people to come down and build something. Last year we did a maker retreat. We had 7 people from all over the U.S. I mean, we had somebody from Utah, you know, Texas, Pennsylvania, everywhere came down, and I found 2 families that just so happened, unfortunately, had some house fires about a month before we planned this. And we wanted to give back in some way. You know, I wanted to bring everybody together and have fun building and camaraderie and all that, but I also wanted to make it a point to do something for somebody else.
Right.
And so we did 2 coffee tables, one for each family, and just gave it to them. Wow. And that was probably the most rewarding project I've ever done. Seeing their faces and the kids and everything. And we've become friends with those families since then. And it was just great. And then we had a maker retreat, maker meetup that Saturday night. I think we had about 30 some people come, which is, you know, big at the time. We were very small operation there, and it meant a lot to us, and it meant a lot to the community. So yeah, we're always doing content on Instagram, trying to kick up YouTube a little bit harder lately, just trying to really build that community and teach people. My thing is that you guys can do anything that you want to do. There is nothing that holds you back except your mind and your abilities and creativity. You know, every project that I do pushes me outside of my comfort zone just a little bit more. And I tackle projects that I've never really done before. I mean, I had a need for doing bent lamination. Just one day, I was like, I need to give this guy a present, and it was bent lamination. I'd never done it before in my life, and 3 weeks later, I had a finished product that was perfect, you know. And it was just something I thought I wanted to do, and I tackled it, you know, full force, and it worked great. So that's sort of how my content is. It's sort of built around teaching people how to get past their own fears and doing things that they normally wouldn't do. And I really, really enjoy that.
Well, and it's encouraging to see that, you know, with a lot of so many content creators now focused on their own content, and that's kind of what it's about. But it's good to see there's people like you and a lot of others that are sort of boomeranging that back to help some of the other people who maybe are struggling to get out of that comfort zone and get out of that box that they put themselves in.
Exactly. And I've got a lot of upcoming content on, you know, CNCs, not pertaining specifically to Phantom CNCs, but, you know, of course they're going to be there in the background and using that equipment. And I've got some laser videos and other things coming out. And it's really just going to be geared toward getting people past that thought process of getting into CNCs if they want to, and really helping them push one step at a time through it. You know, that's what it's going to be about.
Well, and that's good. You know, I love the whole community aspect about it. And, you know, like yesterday we had, you know, Artisan Pirate was here. He's big on giving back. And, of course, Sterling Davis, he's big.
Yeah.
And he's about giving back.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, this is another guy here. If you're interested and you want to know a little bit more about makers or just how to get into woodworking, go check it out, Stated Woods. And he's on Instagram. He's constantly posting stories. And he's not one of those, hello, this is me. He's going to make you laugh. I mean, just go back and check some of his content on just how he cleans up his shop. That alone will at least give you a chuckle and encourage you that it's not just a dry craft after all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. And, you know, it's just like Klingspor. You guys, if anybody ever has a problem, you can call up the store. Everybody's doing woodworking and things after hours, and you guys are all in it all day long. And that's why I love Klingspor so much, is because you guys are in the community and the maker community. And, like, if I have a question, I call up Mike Z or call up you or, you know, anybody. Even Coleman will give you tips and tricks here and there. And it's just great to be a part of what you guys are doing, too.
Well, and it's funny, you know, even like when we weren't live a while ago, someone came up to me and said, hey, Chris, I know you use these ISO tunes. I'm thinking about this one, or this one. Which would you want to win? Well, to be honest, I have all three. So, you know, every one of them is going to present a different thing. So it just becomes not just selling stuff, but we all use it personally. So it becomes, okay, I've used this, and for this application works, and for this application, this one works. And that's how we all give back. So regardless of whether I work here or not, I'm using the products every day in my own shop. And so it's just fun seeing all these people that I've interacted with for so long, finally seeing them in person, you know. So that's the cool thing that I like about shows like this and what you're doing with the maker meetups. But, you know, I know you're busy with Phantom today, so we wanted to get a little bit of Stated Woods in there. So appreciate you sharing a little bit of that. And go check him out. Be on the lookout for upcoming maker meetups or other things coming out from his content. And you'll certainly not be disappointed with what you learn. And great guy to hang around. I appreciate you hanging out in the booth with me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I told you I wouldn't make you cry. I wouldn't ask you sad stuff. It's going to be just a little fun time.
I know. I'm just sad that Mike Z's not sitting here right beside me. I miss the boy. If he's watching on here, I'm sure he might be.
Oh, he's behind the scenes controlling all this. He probably muted you.
I love you, Mike.
I mean, that was it.
So, well, yeah, we miss Mike Z at the shows, but he is such a presence for us, keeping this thing running when we're doing these lives. It's quite an arduous task.
Oh, yeah.
Running the virtual event, and he does so much behind the scenes that nobody sees to keep this thing plugging and keeping videos rolling.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exhausting walking the show floor, but it's just as mentally exhausting prepping all the stuff to get it ready. I'm sure
you guys are going to need a good vacation over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Coleman. Good vacation. So, yeah. We'll hashtag that later.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah. But Nick, we appreciate you coming in, and
Thank
I
you
hope
so
you have
much.
a great rest of the day. And good luck getting those machines out of here.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we got to go steal a forklift.
Well, we're going to shut the forklifts off, so you can't move them out.
Well, we better go then.
So when you get this box, the biggest thing to remember is you can take this home and start spraying almost instantly. There's nothing else you need besides what's in this box. So this is their hose. It's 25 feet long and it's very rigid. That's why one of their most popular options is a lightweight hose to use on the last 6 feet. But you don't have to do that. You can go right home and spray with what's in the box. Then they have a gun, and I believe that this one is what was traditionally called a siphon gun, which means the tank is on the bottom of the gun. It's really kind of a misnomer now, because I will show you here that a lot of auto body people always used gravity guns with the cylinder or the canister on top. And the thought was that you're not wasting any of your air creating a siphon to suck the fluid out of the bottom of the tank. Well, the way modern guns have taken care of that problem, Fuji and most other manufacturers put a pressure hose which takes some air coming from your turbine, which generates the power, and blows in and pressurizes the cup on the bottom. So it's actually forcing the liquid up, not having to suction it up. The real thing to remember as you start spraying is that 90% of the problems while you're spraying are because your gun wasn't clean. So cleaning your gun is absolutely fundamentally important. So, as I talked earlier, with a compressor system, you're blowing moist, essentially cold air. So you always have to deal with that. If you're using waterborne finishes, it's not quite as bad. But if you're using lacquers, you can have all kinds of problems. And it all comes in the package. It blows warm, dry air. The Semi-Pro 2, which has 2 fans in it. I know of a number of cabinet shops that just use the 2. So when you get ready to spray, the thing you need to know is that on these guns, the real difference in an HVLP gun is the size of these holes. And those holes are larger than they would be on a conventional compressor spray gun because they have to move a larger volume of air at lower pressure. So every time that you're spraying material, the 2 comes with what's called a 1.3. What that means is the hole in the end of this tip is 1.3 millimeters. And they go all the way from 0.8 all the way up to 2. Why you would want to use something different? If you're spraying latex paint, you're going to have a big hole because the particles are very large. And that's another part of an HVLP gun, is you're spraying a bigger droplet. You can imagine if you're using a paintbrush, you're trying to put on a uniform film of your material. If you use a high pressure gun, you're atomizing the paint or the finish into little bitty particles that you're spraying on. And traditionally, automotive shops, that kind of thing, you get a much smoother surface, but again, you'll waste a lot more finish. With an HVLP gun, you are spraying a larger droplet, so you have to be careful. If you spray it too heavy, you'll get what's called orange peel, where it really looks like the peel on an orange. But all the different sets that are 3 parts to every set. Number 1, you get a needle. This needle goes all the way through to the air cap. So anytime you want to change your air cap and your spray system, your nozzle, you get a new nozzle, a new pin, and a new air cap, because if you've got a bigger hole spraying out more material, you need to move the air much more efficiently. So every one comes in the 3-part system. You get the needle, you get this nozzle which is the size, you get an air cap to distribute the spray. On these guns, The bottom number, or the bottom knob, controls how much of your fluid is coming out of the cup. The top one controls the fan, and if you haven't sprayed, these guns will spray from a dot to a fan of about 15 inches. And depending on what you're spraying, you want to be someplace in between the dot and the full fan. The wider you get the fan, the more spread out the material is all the way at the edge of your fan. And by the edge of the fan, you can spray horizontal or a vertical fan. So when you move your cap from upright or vertical to horizontal, you change the direction of the fan. So depending on what you're spraying, if you're spraying up and down, you're going to want it oriented so that the fan goes out this way. If you're spraying back and forth, you want to orientate the cap so that the fan goes like this. And the other thing about spraying, if your gun is clean and it's not spraying very well, you may be using the wrong cap. And Fuji provides a sheet with every one of their sprayers. And the way you determine which tip you should use is you use a viscosity cup. Fuji provides one of these. And the way it works, say you're spraying lacquer and you've got it in a gallon can. You take the viscosity cup and put it in the gallon. And you lift it up and start your stopwatch. And the fluid's going to be running out the bottom of the cup. When you don't wait for it to stop totally. You wait for the stream to become droplets and then hit your timer. And then you look at a chart and it tells you by how many seconds it took which cap you should be using. And I like to think, when people talk about viscosity as thickness, I like to think of it as slipperiness, because I've sprayed some things that feel kind of thick, but they're slippery. They spray really well. A few other things to consider. Fuji makes a great cleaning kit, but be very careful when you're cleaning your gun, because with the hard pick or an ice pick or something like that, or even a scratch on, you can do really damage to these nozzles. I've had mine for 10 years and they're just fine. And I'll talk a little bit about how I spray. I'm principally a guitar builder. I build some furniture, but I have always used a gravity gun just because that's how I started. And this is Fuji's, I guess, top of the line gun. You can get it as an option when you buy their 5 fan system, their Q5. But I like it because I can tilt it. So if I do a lot of spraying straight down, and I don't do much up, but I have some friends that do, and they love that about it. The disadvantage of these guns is setting them down. You know, I keep my turbine 20 feet away from where I'm working, and I use a remote control to turn it on and off. Then I disconnect.
Go into family history, whatever. That's when it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen.
Well, welcome back. We are live in the media booth. So we got Tom here. We're from General Finishes. I'll tell you what, you want to know about finishing, this guy has all the answers, right?
Well, if I don't, I make it up, Chris.
Well, then that's a true salesman right there, right? No. If you follow him on any of his personal stuff, he does a lot of finishing. So he's sort of an expert in the field.
You know what an expert is?
Yeah, I do. I call myself one all the time.
No, it's somebody's 50 miles from home. That's what an expert is.
Gotcha. Well, you're a little ways from home. Then.
I am.
Yeah. But no, we've got General Finishes here. We've had some good products, and every year you guys just keep putting out good stuff, more and more new stuff, right?
You know, that's the key, is just to be consistent.
And it's not just new; it's still good.
Yeah, a lot of people ask for the first time that they've never heard of us, but we've been around since 1928. Company in itself, but like Armor Seal and some of those product lines have just been in the market for so long, and people ask, what's so good about them, and that really they're simple and they work. Mm-hmm. That's the easiest answer you can give anybody. Yep,
and there are some good products in your lineup. Armor Seal being one of them. Seal is a great predecessor to that. And you guys just launched some new high performance stuff recently in the past year or two.
Right. We just introduced in the last month a dead flat version of high performance. It's a brand new patented urethane technology that's new to the market, but we're the first ones to really get our hands on full production of it. And the key is, in today's design and decor, people want like dead flat, meaning no sheen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it comes down to where designers want to match the laminate and the stone countertop sheen to the cabinets.
Yeah. And
anytime you have a kitchen cabinet that's shiny, we've been seeing a trend towards the lower sheens and the flat and matte finishes. So this is I'm excited about this product because I personally use flat finishes on most of the stuff I build. This has got a really clean look to it though, where it doesn't look artificial. So we've got it in both the high performance product line and the Enduro clear poly line for the professionals.
Gotcha. Yeah, and if you're not familiar with that high performance line, it is a very, very good and durable water-based finish. And Mike and I recommend it quite a bit for anyone doing tables and things like that, where they want that durable finish, but they don't want that plastic look.
Exactly.
And they really require that clear finish that water-based can provide.
Yeah, the key is it's got to have a kind of a warm tone to the wood, because I think personally, I think the one thing that could ruin a woodworking project is putting the wrong type of finish on it and either mute the wood or the character of the grain. But what's nice about, I think, our finishes in general is aesthetically they look nice and clean on the wood.
Yeah.
And that imparts, especially like in maple, a lot of questions this week about I want to do maple, but I don't want any color at all. Well, wood in itself has color.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep the color as neutral as possible, that's where the water-based finishes really excel.
Yeah. And if you did stain it, that product then looks just as equally good. But yeah, it does look a little better on a wood that's got a little bit more of that shade.
Exactly. Everybody wants, the new thing is, the trend is to have a durable, chemical water-resistant finish on your kitchen cabinets, but they want absolute zero sheen to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like there's anything on the wood, but they want the durability of something on the wood.
Yeah.
So that's where the new dead flat, I think, is going to fill a really nice niche in the marketplace.
Yeah. And you guys have been doing this so long, and every year you're whether it be your different stains, your pigments. I mean, I know Pinterest blew up on you several years ago with the Java gel stain.
Yeah.
That's a huge product that we sell a lot of at our place. As a matter of fact, I think we didn't even used to carry a gallon of any of the stains until Java decided to take over the world.
Yeah.
And so we carry a lot of different products now, and you guys just keep innovating, and we appreciate the fact that you don't just innovate to innovate, you innovate to make it better.
Well, that's, again, I think the key to any successful long-term establishment and business is just consistency.
Yeah.
And again, believe me, the last few years have been a challenge for anybody, I think, in the coatings industry, just because of what COVID did to supply chains. And I will say we weathered that storm, I think, really well. We never really ran out of any products. We have a really excellent purchasing team and production team that just kept everything at a hand's grasp so that we could actually produce batches. We may have scaled back a little bit, but we didn't miss a beat. And we actually, I think, weathered the storm better than some of the large conglomerates that just big ships are slow to turn, I guess is how you look at it.
They are. And you guys, you put out a good product, very durable, and whether it's an oil-based or water-based, you guys do a good job, and we appreciate, we've loved this long-term partnership that we've had with General Finishes. And, I don't recall in all of the years that I've been a part of Klingspor's woodworking shop where there's ever been a lot of batch issues, which is amazing, because so many finishing companies go through such an issue with, this batch is,
Yeah, and that comes down to the personnel that we've got that just do an excellent job of, the production side of it's one thing, but then the quality control is the second half of that. And you just have to have a conscious about what you're putting out on the shelf, because a really good reputation can be ruined overnight by putting out a bad product into the marketplace. And you know, every coatings company has their issues or days, whether it be a raw material change. And there's over the last, I'd say probably 10 years, I think the shift to water-based products has made it better for companies like ourselves, where the big raw material suppliers are focusing more on the water-based products, which gives us actually more options available. And it still comes down to research and development, and knowing what's new, knowing what's trending, and knowing what's going away, whether it be a regulatory issue or just a shortage of raw material issue. So, you know, it takes a lot to put a good product in a can.
Well, and not just a good product, but a water-based product, because it's such a finicky issue. But you guys have done so well. And Tom, I know you got people constantly at your booth. I won't keep you too much longer. I appreciate you coming in. And is there anything you want to just advise us, something new coming down the line that maybe we haven't heard of?
There's more products that we're going to have after towards the end of the year, the beginning of the year. We're working on new 2K, or what would be a catalyzed urethane system in both clear and white that can be tintable, because that's the big push in the kitchen cabinet and millwork industry market. So we do have new technology coming. We just kind of backed off a little bit, only because of what's been going on in the last few years. But again, we take our time. That's the secret. Take our time, test it, make sure that we think it's what I would want to use in my shop, because I still finish, I still build, and to me, it's like you want to use something that you'd use yourself. So overall, the thing about Klingspor, great people. I've known Coleman and Ray and you guys for a long time, and there's a lot of woodworking shows in the company. I still think this is one of the better ones because of your interaction with not only selling product, but just the people coming through, and you got a real loyal following. That I think is a compliment to Klingspor in general. Good customer service, friendly people, and I'm a Klingspor customer. I buy all my wife's abrasives for her sign business, so you know, it's good stuff.
Well, we appreciate that, and that goes both ways. And always a fan of the General Finishes line, and you know, I got a lot of it in my cabinet. That's
good. I appreciate that.
So, well, Tom, we appreciate you coming by. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show, and we're not too far along. You'll be pack it up and be out of here.
It went fast today, so I'm looking forward to getting home. But always enjoy coming down to Hickory. I really enjoy this crowd.
Well, we appreciate you coming by. So this is Tom with General Finishes.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Then I've got to set this down someplace. When I went to the Fuji school, they used exclusively these siphon guns, and it's nice to be able to disconnect the hose and set it down. So, you know, the system is simple. The thing I encourage people to do is practice. I mean, in my shop, I have a huge roll of that brown wrapping paper, heavy paper, and I just pull a sheet of it down, and every time I use a gun, I treat it like I've never sprayed that material before. I shut the flow all the way down, start opening it up, and start spraying, and I adjust my fan, because I like to spray with a fan of only about 6 inches, because I'm doing a heavy overlap, and I'm putting on a heavy coat of a really thin material, nitrocellulose lacquer.
Hello, I'm Scott Caskey. I'm here at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop in Hickory, and I'm going to do a little demo on how to take a English style bowl gouge and make it into a fingernail Ellsworth style grind on it. First I'm going to do one freehand on the bench grinder, and then we're going to go through one video with the Woodworking system showing you how to use the Wolverine jig, and then we'll also show how to use the Tormek and set it up so you can use whichever system you have to get the most optimal use out of your equipment. Start off with, I'm going to just kind of go over what a English grind is. This is the standard English grind. It is just basically the standard flute with a bevel on the top. This is typically how the English use their bowl gouges. In America, we tend to not like this very much because it does have a tendency to grab if you're roughing out and everything with it. But it does have one major advantage in this factor, or even with the ears just slightly pulled back, and that is in the bottom of a bowl. When you get deep into a bottom of a bowl with this bevel like this and like it, you can get and clean up the bottom of a bowl a little bit better in this situation. But this is the general profile in which we like in America. It's mostly common, the Ellsworth grind, and it is very easily achieved and maintained once you kind of get the idea of how to do it. All right, this is the standard English grind on flute, which is how the English typically make their bowl gouges. If you notice, it has a pretty much straight up and down ears on it. And in America, we tend to prefer an English or an Ellsworth style grind, which looks like this. You can see the difference where the ears are pulled back. It's much less for getting catches. It's more forgiving. It's also a more versatile tool. So what we will typically do is we will remove the big shoulders up here and go back, sweep them back. There is an advantage to having an English bowl gouge in your toolkit. Is in the bottom of a bowl. If you've got a deep bowl, it's easier to get in the bottom and clean up the bottom, but you want to keep these ears away from the wood because it will make a nasty catch if you're not ready for it. The process in which we'll go from getting from this to this will consist of, first we will take and grind those ears back. We'll just take it straight up against the grinding wheel like this and go down until we get it to the very tip, and then have it swept back as far as we want for our ears for our English grind. After we do that, we will take and set our grinder up the right angle, which is this angle here is typically what I tend to use, which is around between 40 and 45 degrees. There's a lot of debate on which is the correct angle, somewhere in between there, but just pick something. Once you get used to it, you'll be happy with it. But once you get that plate set where you can set this down on and it makes contact with your wheel, like something like that, then we're ready to remove the excess off of here to get that English grind. What we're going to do now is, you see this one still has that hard flat surface on it, and this one's already been ground back. What we're going to do is take it and set it flat against the tool rest, and we're going to roll it into the wheel, like up here where my thumb's the wheel. We're going to keep it flat against the tool rest completely, and we're going to roll it over and in until we remove that stock. All this stock over here, what we're going to do is going to leave this fine little edge on the edge of this here and remove all this on this side over here. And this is what we're going to be left with. Have a container of water so you can keep your tool cool, so you don't take the temper out of the tool while you're cutting, because you're going to see me constantly quench to keep the tool cool. By the way, this is a slow speed grinder. It's 1800 RPM. Try not to use the high speed grinder because it gets too hot too quick, removes stock way too fast. So pretty much all wood turners, if you're using a grinder, recommend finding a lower speed grinder. To start off with, I'm just going to hold the tools up high on the tool rest. I'm going to come in, let both ears make contact, and I'm just going to work it down. And I'm telling you the truth, I'm not even positive which stone I'm on, if I'm on the coarse or the fine. It really doesn't matter for what I'm doing. I'm just grinding it back, and take a look and see I'm not all the way back, not all the way back to the point yet. So I still got some more to remove, but you see how the color is just changing on this tool, which is telling me I'm getting it hot. Anytime you get a tool hot, you do change the temper. So no longer than I've been on the grinder right now, I am changing the temper somewhat on the tool. So that's the reason why you want to constantly quench. And you see I'm getting closer. I'm starting to see sparks come across the front, which is telling me I'm getting really close. You can see I've got just a little dab left on the very top edge that's not shiny, which tells me I'm not at that front edge yet. I think I just saw some sparks, just did. Let's quench that. And you can start to see just a very faint shine across the top of it. Bench grinder. First I'm going to take a Sharpie and put black on the back side of this so I can check my angle. The other thing you'd want to do is go ahead and power the machine completely off and preferably unplug it. I'm going to leave it plugged in just for the sake of the video for speed, but I'm going to hold this down on this bench and I'm going to kick this angle up and move it until I get it pretty close, and I'm going to spin backwards and see how I'm at. I'm hitting on the bottom side, so I need to tip it down a little bit, which also I'm going to need to come in some too, so let's do that. And if you notice, this is not exactly the steadiest piece right here, which is fine. It's all good. It'll be close enough for what we're doing. And you see I'm starting to get a line go all the way across to the tip top. It's close enough for us to do what we're needing. Now, the key here is to keep this tight against this tool rest at all times. And what we're going to do is we're going to take and just work this one side down. And we're going to quench quite frequent in there so we can keep the temper in that tool from removing all the temper in it. You can see that little line gets smaller and smaller. And you can see it's getting closer, that this whole shoulder is disappearing, and we've still got this shoulder over here just like in that wooden demo model. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep on rolling it. And once we get it to that edge, you'll notice that there'll be sparks coming across the top edge. You start seeing them now. It means we're really close to having it where we need to be. You can barely see a shiny line up there, which means there's just a little bit left to catch. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but there's a real shiny line right where my thumbnail is. That means we've just got a little flat spot up there. So we're almost there on that. All right, now we have our basic grind. And we can go back and touch up once we get it closer, but get the other side. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to move this out of the way. Now we've got our rough fingernail grind. You can see the grind marks in here are not real even and smooth, which is one major advantage to having a jig do it. But now that we've got this, you also notice I've got a pretty heavy point on the front. So now I'm going to go back and clean up and kind of sweep it all the way around to round my point back out like we would normally have in our normal grind. So we're going to just kind of swing it. It's easier to do one side than the other, than come back up and clean up that point. The key to this is keep your nose or the tool tight to the tool rest. Now you can see that sharp point is now gone off the front of it, which is what you're wanting. I'm going to make a few final good cleaning passes and see if I can clean up some of those grind marks. That's how you take a standard English grind to a bowl gouge, an English or a more of an Ellsworth grind, freehand. And if you can see, we got all sorts of little waves and stuff in the surface, and we do have a little discoloration, but that was because we were heating it up pretty good. So that means those are tempers slightly off where you see the major color changes, but it should not be enough to make a big difference in the tool. Next, we'll show using a Wolverine jig how to do the same type of profile, and then we'll also go over with a Tormex. So look out for those videos as well.
Well, we are back. We had some plans to have a couple more folks, but man, it's still busy here at the convention center, and a lot of people are getting busy packing up and also answering questions. So what we thought we'd do is we just go ahead and hopefully wrap this up. And thank you guys so much for watching the 22nd annual Klingspor's Woodworking Shop Woodworking Extravaganza Virtual Edition. Hopefully you enjoyed both virtual and the live portions of this, and hopefully it helped you, encourage you maybe to come back and join us at a future show live with us, not just online and virtual.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully this would give you an idea of what the extravaganza is all about, as well as a little bit more insight as to what we can offer as far as Klingspor's Woodworking Shop goes, both for our live events as well as our in-studio recordings that we're starting to do now more than ever. So hopefully all this content was helpful for you.
They did just show up. And so if we got them in, I'd love to get this Western Piedmont Community College in here and
absolutely
chat with them a minute. Come on in. There you go. I'll let you hold that.
Thank you, sir.
You doing okay?
Doing just fine.
Good. Well,
is that the camera right there?
You can look at the blue one if you want.
Look at the blue one.
The little blue
okay.
standard one there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is, I don't think I caught your name when we were talking.
John
from Western Piedmont Community College.
Yes.
They are local here to the Hickory area, not far. And they've got a fantastic craft booth. If you went through there, you saw that earlier in both of our live demonstrations. And it's just fantastic. So what we'd like for you to do, tell us a little bit about your program that you have.
Well, the program is staffed by myself and a colleague of mine of many years, Lee Kirksey. Between us, we've probably got 80 years experience. I started when I was 19 and had a whole variety of jobs in cabinet shops and furniture factories, my own business. I started teaching about 10 years ago. And we've changed a lot of things at the college in the last year. We used to offer a curriculum with a degree, but that has been canceled. But in terms of what we actually do, we're now in the continuing ed department. But what the student experiences on the floor hasn't changed. So we can teach beginners, intermediates, advanced. We can, with a little luck, we can keep people from hanging on to their bad habits. I get a lot of hobbyists that have been building furniture for a while, and they say they want to work smarter, not harder. And so they come in to see what we have to offer in terms of sequencing the building or leaving stuff out that's not necessary. So we cover everything from how to mark up to the sequence that you build things in.
Right.
So,
well, that's good. And we saw some of the beautiful pieces that you built over there, and I'm sure that's all part of the program.
That's all part of the program. There's beginners have to go through a series of 6 projects, all sort of geared at understanding case goods. And when they get done, they should be able to design and build their own case.
Well,
that's the goal. Teach myself out of a job.
Well, but you know that just means there's going to be more people show up later.
Well, we certainly hope so.
Yeah. And from everything we can see, you're building very beautiful pieces over there, which is good for the progression of the craft. And the whole idea is just to keep people interested and teach them the right way. And
one of the right ways.
Right.
There are lots of wrong ways to do it, but there are also lots of right ways to do it. So it's not just one way. But this is when I first started teaching, what I started to realize is when I was talking to a student, I thought I was on step 3. Really, I was on step 15, but I had been doing it for so long that, you don't really recognize all the different steps that you're in. So I spent the last 10 years sort of unraveling what I know and re-raveling it into these 6 projects.
Right.
So that's sort of how the program is. That's the foundation of the program are these 6 projects.
Well, and I had a chance to speak with one of your students earlier. We didn't catch it live, but when I was over there talking to him, and it didn't work out where he could come and do it, because I thought that would be a great way to really showcase that he's not only went through the program, but he's still there and interested in helping out.
Did you talk to Thomas? Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I like to show student work. I mean, I can show my work.
Yeah.
I know I can execute it, but the question is, can I teach it?
Yeah.
And that's 2 completely different things I found out.
Oh, it is, for sure.
For me, it was much easier just to build it than it was to unravel it and then figure out a way to teach it. That's been really difficult for me.
Well, I know I've enjoyed walking by there. You guys have been busy the whole time.
Yeah.
Hopefully this has gained you a little bit more interest from customers and maybe get some interest to come join your class in the college. And we're glad you took over that little corner there and brought some of your wares with you.
We were happy to do it. You let us spread out a little bit. When I first got here, I said, well, I don't know if we've got enough room or not, but you guys just let us spread out, and that was great.
Well, we want to try to help where we can, and certainly you guys do such a good job. And
well, let me say here that Klingspor, we've been, in the 10 years that I've been teaching, you guys have always donated a space. And as we have grown, you've let us grow. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and everybody. So.
Well, we enjoy the fact that you're continuing the craft, and not only continuing it, but you're help educating the craft. And so we're just glad to be a part of that. And it's good to see you in that corner over there. It seems like that's your corner now, I believe.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
So we'll keep up the good work.
Thank you,
and
sir.
If we can help anyway, always let us know. But we did want to spotlight you a little bit. So if you're in the area and you want to learn a little bit more about woodworking, reach out to Western Piedmont Community College. They can certainly set you up with that course.
Yeah, and let me just say, you can email me is the best way.
Okay.
It would be J Ferguson, JFERGUSON WPCC.edu.
Okay.
So.
And if you didn't catch all that, stop, rewind, play. Stop, rewind, play. That's the easy way to get that. So. And I think Mike figured out how to put it up on the screen for us right there. So you feel free to pause that, copy that down, and certainly give them a call.
If you didn't get it, you can call the main office at the college and tell them that you're interested in the wood program, and they'll send you to me.
There you go. So feel free, if you're in the area, definitely reach out and learn a little more about your woodworking and learn it one of the right ways.
One of the right ways. Yep.
Better yet, get rid of the wrong ways that you may have already learned.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Enjoy it. Thank you.
All right.
And I think we have one more guest. I don't know why I'm talking into the microphone. We have one more guest coming on board here, and he is the president of the North Carolina Woodturners that meet in our Hickory location. Here you go.
Hello.
And you might recognize him from Turning Thursday. So he's not just an employee, he's also a member of the club. And we've been trying to spotlight some of the clubs that were here, and we wanted to spotlight them because you guys had the whole Learning Turning Center over there.
Yep, we did. We were doing honey dippers and miniature bowls and other kinds of things today. Unfortunately, I couldn't help out. I had to work for Klingspor, but other than that, it was a pretty good day.
Well, good. Well, so tell us a little more about the club. What kind of stuff do you guys do every month?
So the North Carolina Woodturner Association meets every second Saturday of the month. Every Saturday, we try to have a demonstrator come in and if we have enough new turners who are interested in learning how to turn hands-on, we have 4 mini lathes that we pull out after lunch, and we'll sometimes do what we call learn and turns. And that way, if somebody's thinking about getting into turning or something like that, they can go straight into it and actually get hands-on experience before they buy the bowl and buy the lathe. So.
Okay. Well, and so they do meet at our Hickory location, and which is nice if you're in the area, or even if you're not. You got people travel quite a bit of distance just to come be a part of the club. And so that club's been gosh, that's been going on for.
We are the first woodturning association in North Carolina. That's why we're called the North Carolina Woodturners. And slowly we had people start moving away and starting their own clubs in North Carolina. So that's just we're still North Carolina.
So not the biggest, but one of the first. And you're welcome to come to check it out. It's the second Saturday of every month. And wow. Sorry, I just got distracted by a giant 4x8 CNC rolling out the back door. And it's not rolling into my shop, so I'm very disappointed. Anyway, we're talking turning here with Chris Stinson, president of the North Carolina Woodturners Association. Yeah, man, sorry, I completely, that big giant blue Phantom just it's like going. So, but anyway. Come by the Hickory store the second Saturday of the month if you're interested in wood turning. They'd love to have you come check it out and maybe join them in their ranks. And you too can be a part of the Turning Center. And we'll have it again next year, hopefully. And we've had it here every year for, gosh, I don't know how many years. But, Chris, we appreciate you coming on board, telling us a little more about the North Carolina Wood Turning Club. And look forward to maybe gaining a few members there.
Yeah, I hope we do. We're trying to get bigger every day.
We appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
All right, get out. You got stuff to do.
Do your stuff.
I will. Okay, well, I think after all of that, this has been quite a weekend. We've had everything from live events, virtual tours, clubs and vendors coming by, in the booth, out of the booth. I don't know about you all watching, but I'm pretty tired and exhausted. But, yeah, Gary, we appreciate you too, man. We really do. So, and we want you here next year in person, Gary, because if you're in person here, they got a seat right there just for you. I'll make sure we'll schedule it, block it in, and nobody else will take it. Well, we've had a lot of fun. Hickory Metro Convention Center, the 22nd annual Klingspor Woodworking Shop, Woodworking Extravaganza. I believe it's about to come to an end live, and it's certainly about to come to an end virtually. Yeah, so I guess I am Chris with Klingspor Woodworking Shop.
And I'm Mike Z, and thank you so much for joining us this weekend for the Woodworking Extravaganza. We hope to see you back next year, live in person and virtually.
Yep, we appreciate it. And you guys, wish you well. Have a great rest of your day. And I got a lot of cleanup to do.
Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue making future videos. Check out Klingspor's